We have a lot of different pieces of glassware in the laboratory for measuring volumes. We have things like volumetric pipettes, which deliver a known fixed volume. We have things like graduated cylinders, which give a known but variable volume. And it turns out that these are not always absolutely perfectly accurate. And also, there's a level of precision associated with each one. Precision you can think of as reliability or reproducibility, excuse me. Precision is reproducibility, and then accuracy is whether or not they get the right answer. And this pipette, for instance, is 50 milliliters. Well, one way that you can calibrate a pipette is that you can fill it up with water of known temperature and then let it drain out and weigh the water that you just drained out. And since you know the density of water is a function of temperature, you can calculate from the mass of the water that you just collected, the volume of the pipette that you delivered. Okay, so fill it up to the line, meniscus, underside of the meniscus, just touching the line, and then you weigh the volume of, weigh the water, and with that you can associate a volume of water because you know what the density is, provided you know what the temperature of the water is. You can do the same thing with a graduated cylinder. Fill the graduated cylinder up to the 50 milliliter mark, for instance, and then weigh the water, and from the density you can get what the volume is. So we've done that experiment for both the pipette and the grad cylinder, and in the graphic you can see what data we collected. And the averages for the two to the same number of significant figures is exactly the same, 49.87 milliliters. And what that says is that they're basically of the same accuracy. The difference is the precision. How reproducible a volume can you deliver with a pipette versus with a graduated cylinder? And there's significantly better precision with the graduated pipette. That's not really surprising because we're trying to match the meniscus over this little tiny volume as opposed to, or excuse me, this little tiny cross-section compared to the very large cross-section of the graduated cylinder. And so the amount of error is larger for the graduated cylinder than it is for the pipette. Bottom line is that they're both pretty good for measuring volumes. I mean, we're within a fairly close tolerance to what it's supposed to be, 50 milliliters at 49.87, but for really precise work, what you want to do is use the pipette.